as we see through God's eyes, eternity is not a concept anymore, but eternity is reality of the soul. Being eternal means being timeless. And what does it mean practically? Baba says, forget the past, because the past, the present, and the future only belongs to the person. The soul cannot be consumed by time. But the time, even the present moment, reports to him. Know the divine beauty and greatness of yourself. Thoughts report to you, the soul. The thoughtless one. Time reports to the timeless one. Changes happen in front of the soul that is changeless himself. I am just a point. Self, true self, the wonder of him, that is me and you, is just a tiny point. A tiny point that has never been separated from the supreme point. Inseparable. Take this moment to acknowledge that. And stop believing you are not. The self always is the self. Truth is ever present and changeless. So knowing the self as just this tiny point within which, within this essence, there is recorded a huge expansion of experiences, a universe of experiences within this tiny point. But now it's time to come out of expansion into the essence. Being the seed once again. And from there, watching the expansion with detachment. And which is why God comes to play his part of God, to bring the souls back into the essence, back to their original form of being the seed. Om Shanti. We'll share with you a small video, and it kind of highlights the importance of perspective. Yeah? From where am I seeing and who is seeing? So it gives us the perspective of God also, and perspective of the self, the true self that I am. Yeah? So as we can, it looks like somebody who's sitting with the book and sitting at the pool, feeling very relaxed. Then we zoom out a little bit, then it looks like they're sitting somewhere on some kind of a boat. And we zoom out a little bit more, and then we see that they are actually sitting somewhere on a big ship. And this is like a cruise ship. But we zoom further out. And when we zoom out more, then we see, oh, that was just a picture on a bus in a busy street in New York. So we zoom out a little bit more. And when we zoom out a little bit more, what do we see? then we see that, oh, this bus was actually just a scene on somebody's television. Yeah. And then we zoom out a little bit more and we see, okay, he was sitting in a desert somewhere and he was watching some television. So we zoom out a little bit more, oh, somewhere in Arizona, within the US, that's where they are, and watching TV. But then we zoom out a bit more and we see it was just a stamp on somebody's letter. Yeah. Then we zoom out a bit more and then we see it was somewhere on some island, some remote island somewhere. So we keep zooming out, then we see it was a view for someone from the airplane. And then we go further, zoom out a bit more, keep zooming out, and we see the whole ocean and the airplane in the sky. We zoom out a bit more, and then we see actually it was just simply the vision of a globe, maybe by an astronaut. Then we zoom out a bit more, and then this ball looks like a big ball. Then we zoom out a bit more, and it looks like a small ball. The whole globe looks like a small ball. Now we zoom out and we see from the perspective of God, and it's just a dot. It's just a dot. Nothing more than that. Do you get the perspective of God?
I did.
Yeah. How insignificant that dot is. Just need to zoom out. We just need to see things from his perspective. I, the being, the tiny dot that I am, see things with the supreme dot, then everything will look like a dot. Yeah? But when we are zoomed into it, that same thing, which was just a dot, do you see how expanded it looks? दिख रहा है वो कितना छोटे का कितना बड़ा दिखता है सब कुछ. और जब हम जूम आउट होते हैं तो हर चीज का रियल फॉर्म दिखता है. तो बाबा, the supreme creator and his creation, Baba is here just for us to know the absolute truth is very simple. The absolute truth is you are a dot, I am a dot, drama is a dot. Yeah, but within which there is an ocean of expansion. Yeah, so we will see that for the Father, when I'm sitting, so we will see this whole cycle whilst sitting in the lap of my Supreme Father. Okay? Our Supreme Father. I'm a little bit possessive about Baba, but you can also be possessive about Baba. So we all can sit together with Baba, and from Baba's perspective, I, the being, can see how Baba sees the cycle of time. What does it even mean to him to see the cycle of time? So see it as though you, the soul, is sitting with Baba in his lap, and you and him are together reading a book. Okay? Can we see it like that? You are the reader of the book with the Supreme Mother or Father sitting with you and reading a book of the story of immortality. Is that okay? Do you like that idea of Baba के साथ बैठकर एक story book पढ़ने का? अमर कथा? सुनेंगे अमर कथा? क्या बाबा बताना चाहता है?
Yes, दीदी जी.
तो बाबा पहले हमको एसेंस में ले जाता है. कोई भी पेड़ होता है ना, वो बीज से स्टार्ट होता है. फिर उसका एक एक्सपेंशन होता है, फिर वापस वो बीज में समा जाता है ना, खत्म हो जाता है, फिर उसका नया बीज आता है, उसमें से वापस नया पेड़ निकलता है। तो पहले एसेंस, फिर एक्सपेंशन, फिर वापस एसेंस। ठीक है। तो बाबा के साथ मैं आत्मा किताब पढ़ रही हूँ। अब बाबा मुझे पढ़ा रहा है, बता रहा है, स्टोरी बता रहा है कि हे आत्मा, अपनी स्टोरी देख। You the soul is timeless and storyless. Now you the storyless and the timeless being of light, sit in my lap and I will show you the journey through the cycle of change. What we normally at the human physical level, we say it the cycle of time. But it's actually the cycle of change which the human mind has labeled as time. जिसको ह्यूमन माइंड ने लेबल किया है टाइम, पर एक्चुअल में वो है साइकिल ऑफ चेंज। ठीक है। तो अभी हम देखेंगे कि पहले बाबा हमको मिनी ट्री बताता है, फिर हमको बिगर ट्री बताता है। तो मिनी ट्री में पहले बाबा मुझे कहानी में बता रहा है कि बच्ची देख, पहले अपनी कहानी देख, तू बीज है। You are a storyless, timeless, changeless being of light. So whilst I'm telling you the story, in that chapter, in that particular book of You the Seed, there will be the recording of all the 84 parts within you that I will be showing you and reading with you in a book. Okay, so see yourself as with Baba sitting and reading that book. And now You the Soul, first chapter. You see, okay, I played a deity role in my first birth. Okay, so that was my first part I played. Now in the second chapter, then third chapter, fourth chapter, all the chapters you go through with Baba. Now you come to the climax. And you come to the climax and you see the last chapter is the chapter of the Brahmin birth. Yeah, where you come to know that you were so immersed in the story. As you were reading the story, you got so immersed and identified with one character in your storybook. So अब लास्ट में बाबा आता है, लास्ट चैप्टर में बताता है कि ये जो लास्ट चैप्टर में जो बच्चे जो कैरेक्टर है ना, इससे तुम आइडेंटिफाई हो गए हो पढ़ते पढ़ते. Now you are the reader of the book. Can you step out of the story and see the character separate from you? Why are you feeling the emotions and the feelings of your character as yours? The emotions and the feelings and the thoughts of the character in the storybook is not yours, child. You are a reader of the book. You're not inside the story of the book. But sometimes क्या होता है ना, बुक पढ़ते पढ़ते इतनी इंटरेस्टिंग लगती है कि हम इतने इमर्स हो जाते हैं उसमें लगता है ये सारे कैरेक्टर से हम आइडेंटिफाई करने लग जाते हैं, स्पेशली विद वन कैरेक्टर वी बिकम एसोसिएटेड विद. फिर हम स्टोरी बुक पढ़ते पढ़ते उसी के अप्स एंड डाउन्स में पूरा टाइम पूरा दिन सोचते सोचते जैसे हम स्टोरी बुक में ही रह रहे हैं. होता है कभी ऐसा, कोई इंटरेस्टिंग बुक होती है तो होता है ना.
जी दीदी,
तो
बहुत
बाबा
बार,
की,
कई बार.
हाँ, तो अब बाबा तो मेरे साथ बैठा है ना, अब मैं को किताब पढ़ा रहा है तो वो मुझे जगा रहा है, बोला नहीं नहीं फंसना नहीं, स्टोरी है, बुक है, तुम कौन हो. मैं तो स्टोरी लेस आत्मा हूँ बाबा. हाँ, डिड यू रीड ऑल दोज 84 चैप्टर्स विद मी? दैट्स द स्टोरी ऑफ यू द सोल. डिड एनीथिंग चेंज अबाउट यू whilst you were going through that story? Nothing changed about you. You're just a pure, perfect being. See, you are nameless. And how many different names you took through all those 84 chapters? How many different names? How many different personalities with each character you had? Did anything change about you? No, nothing changed about me, Baba. So then Baba is saying, okay, now let's put this book down of just one individual tree of you, the seed. So understand the expansion within you, the seed. There's this entire expansion. Now you come back to your awareness of being a seed, within which there's a whole tree of experiences. So now I will read another book to you. So always essence, then expansion, and then back to essence. Okay? So Baba has now separated the soul from the story. Are all the souls sitting separate from the story here? Wonderful. All sitting in Baba's lap, listening to the story of immortality? Ready for the bigger story? Okay. All right. So let's go to the bigger story now. Now Baba, as he comes, he tells us the story of immortality and the story of all the souls of the world, 8 billion souls of the world, right? And that is still just a story that is playing out at the level of the physical world. So there are three different things which are always eternal. That is, soul is eternal, God is eternal, and the material world, all the molecules, the building blocks of the material world, they are also eternal. And when these three have an interplay together, and that is what we call drama. तब हम उसको बोलते हैं ड्रामा, जब तीनों का खेल एक साथ चलता है. 3 इटर्नल, दो उसमें से हैं इटर्नल कॉन्शियसनेस, दैट इज गॉड एंड सुप्रीम सोल, और एक है इटर्नल एनर्जी, मैटर की. तीनों मिलकर हम खेल खेलते हैं प्लेग्राउंड में. तो ये प्लेग्राउंड है, ये पूरा प्लेग्राउंड है. जब हम स्टार्ट करते हैं ना, ऊपर से आते हैं हम, मैं पीछे जाती हूँ 1 मिनट वापस, हम ऊपर से आते हैं परम धाम से. हम सब आत्माएं परमात्मा के साथ परम धाम में इटर्नली रहती हैं. ये सीन इटर्नल है, ये सीन कभी नहीं बदलेगा, चाहे ड्रामा में कुछ भी हो जाए. ये सीन चेंजलेस है. इसमें जितना भी जो आत्माओं का गॉड लाइक नेचर है, ये भी चेंजलेस है. आत्माओं का जो आपस में रिश्ता है, ये भी चेंजलेस है. Timeless, changeless, because all souls are storyless, all souls are changeless, but each soul within it has a storybook, an expansion of all the experiences that is recorded within this. Each and every soul has its own story recorded within it, and no 2 stories can be identical. And that is what makes the whole play very interesting. So from the home, I, the soul, first come and I enter the physical world. When I enter the physical world, I come from my highest state of consciousness of being completely awake, God-like state. Then when I come and take the body here, when I wear the costume, I am wearing a costume for my play. And I'm very aware, I the being, the tiny point, is very aware that body is just a costume. Immortality is not something which is a concept for me. In fact, death is a concept for me. I don't know what death means here in Golden Age. We call it Golden Age, Satya Yug. सत्य का युग, जहां सत्य ही सत्य है, आत्मा का सत्य बिल्कुल जागृत है. तो आत्मा के लिए इमोर्टैलिटी तो नेचुरल है और बॉडी एक कॉस्ट्यूम है. आत्मा माइंड, इंटेलेक्ट, संस्कार की मालिक है, तो सेल्फ सोवरेनिटी, स्वराज्य अधिकार नेचुरल है, प्योरिटी नेचुरल है. कोई डुअलिटी नहीं है यहाँ पर. यहाँ पे लाइक और डिसलाइक क्या होता है वो नहीं पता आत्मा को, क्योंकि आत्मा नॉन डुअल है, मतलब अद्वैत है. आत्मा के अंदर एक्सेप्टेंस, रिजेक्शंस की भी कोई फीलिंग्स नहीं होती हैं, कोई ऑपोजिट्स नहीं है आत्मा में. यहाँ पे डेथ एक ब्लफ है, यहाँ पे खुशी नॉर्मल है. हैप्पीनेस इज द स्टेट ऑफ बीइंग ऑफ एवरी सोल हियर. This is why it's known as the age of truth. यहाँ की सोसाइटी के कस्टम्स, सिस्टम्स, civilization is completely different. It is like as though the souls have come down from eternal Paristan to the Paristan on the land. बस इतना फर्क है कि यहाँ पे ये सोल ने बॉडी को पहना हुआ है और यहाँ पे सोल के पास कोई बॉडी नहीं थी. तो एक्सपीरियंसर है, उसके अंदर एक संस्कार है, उसको मजा आता है खेल खेलने में, इसलिए वो नीचे आती है. उसको खेल खेलना बहुत अच्छा लगता है. घर में तो कुछ करती नहीं है, घर में तो बॉडी नहीं है, घर में तो थॉट्स ही नहीं है, घर में तो माइंड भी डीएक्टिवेटेड है, मर्ज्ड है, कुछ भी नहीं है, कोई एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है घर में. तो उसको अब एक्सपीरियंस करने के लिए तो प्लेग्राउंड में आना पड़ेगा ना प्लेयर को. बिना प्लेग्राउंड में जाए प्लेयर खेल खेल सकता है? नहीं खेल सकता ना. तो इसलिए वो प्लेयर नीचे आती है आत्मा और अपना कॉस्ट्यूम पहनती है. Yes, somebody raised their hand. I don't know if it was by accident or.
Sorry, I was talking on mute. So with looking at this picture, it feels like that Atma or soul does the circle of life, you can say, right? And Atma comes to play this part in various forms. Is it must that Atma should or soul would come to play, or would it stay in one state, or it would keep on changing? Can Atma can just without knowledge, without enlightenment, can it only stay in black circle only wherein it does not know, or it has to have all these knowledge? I mean, there are two questions. One is, does Atma has to fulfill all of this? And second, would Atma always come to play this part?
Yes, so har Atma ke andar, every soul has a part fixed within him. As we said earlier, that every soul has a story recorded within the mind of the soul. And the soul by nature is a player. Soul is not just, for the soul, it's not enough to just stay in the home. Because the only way the soul can truly experience his true nature of love, peace, bliss, when it comes to the world of play. Without the body, soul cannot experience anything. And that is why soul, being the experiencer and the player, wants to come. Not that it needs to come, but it wants to come. That's why it comes. And every soul, human soul that plays a human part, has that recording within it. And that is why, yes, every soul will come, but not all at the same time. All the souls come down at a different time, just like in a movie set. In a movie set, what happens is not all the souls will come in from the beginning, right? Some souls come in the beginning, then some souls come in the middle, then some souls will come and play their part at the end only. So it's the same way in this big film also. All the souls come at the different time in the cycle. When it is their part, automatically what happens is there is a movement in the soul in the home, and it's literally like there is that part will pull the soul down. Because the moment there is a part, yes.
I was asking, जिनको बाबा का ज्ञान नहीं मिलेगा, is it possible कि वो अपना जीवन अंधेरे में ही निकाल के चले जाएंगे?
We will see that as we go further, that every soul has its own unique part, and it's very important part. And every soul, whether they take gyan or they don't take gyan, it doesn't matter. Every soul will have its own golden aged period. Every soul. And we will see that. And somebody asked a question, what if one doesn't want to come? And that is only because at the end of the cycle, the Maya mind says, I don't want to come. But the soul never not wants to come. Soul wants to experience everything. That's the nature of the being. Those who don't get this true knowledge, that is the soul who is playing various roles, still we see that they don't suffer their role. Yeah, some souls, and we will see how there are some souls who are new souls towards the end of the cycle. All these questions are for later. So if you can remind me those questions towards the end, I mean, towards the end of the cycle when we get to this part. Yeah, because right now we are just seeing what the golden aged period is. Golden aged period is literally when we said three eternal energies have come into connection with each other, and now the life happens. Drama happens, story takes place, play unfolds when the soul comes, takes the body, and plays the part. Yeah. So there is no duality in this consciousness over here. It's the cycle of consciousness also, you can say, or cycle of change. Yeah. Time is a misnomer in the sense that time is a creation of the man's mind. It's not the creation of human God's mind. The way God sees time is as change. So this is where immortality, and this is the region of love. This is the time of love, authentic love, pure love, loving each other as a soul. Soul to soul love exists here. So some people ask, is there any history for these two periods of Golden Age and Silver Age? Because this half of the cycle is also known as paradise, or you can call it heaven. And इसको heaven भी बोलते हैं, स्वर्ग भी बोलते हैं, सतयुग भी बोलते हैं, और त्रेता युग भी बोलते हैं. पर सतयुग में जब आत्मा आती है तो बिल्कुल अवेक होती है, 100% अवेक. पर क्योंकि आत्मा ईगोलेस है, उसका एग्जिस्टेंस ईगोलेस है, तो देयर इज अ डांस ऑफ हार्मनी बिटवीन नेचर एंड सोल. नेचर और सोल के बीच में एकदम हार्मनी है, क्योंकि आत्मा प्योर है तो नेचर भी प्योर है, आत्मा प्योर है तो एनिमल किंगडम भी प्योर है. प्योर मतलब अवेक, आई यूज द वर्ड अवेक. आत्मा अवेक है तो एनिमल किंगडम भी अवेक है. सब कुछ अपने प्योरेस्ट फॉर्म में है, क्योंकि आत्मा बिल्कुल जागृत है गोल्डन एज में और सिल्वर एज में. इसको बोलते हैं किंगडम ऑफ गॉड, किंगडम ऑफ हेवन. तो इमोर्टैलिटी तो बहुत नेचुरल है यहाँ पर, क्योंकि आत्माएं जागृत हैं. तो जब शरीर भी छोड़ना होता है तो बहुत खुशी से छोड़ते, आहा मुझे नया शरीर मिलेगा, मुझे नया कॉस्ट्यूम मिलेगा, मैं नया पार्ट प्ले करूंगा, क्योंकि कोई अटैचमेंट्स नहीं है. और ईगोलेस सोसाइटी है, ईगोलेस सिविलाइजेशन है, तो कोई हिस्ट्री रखने की जरूरत नहीं है, किताबें लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है. दैट इज व्हाई यू वोंट फाइंड हिस्ट्री फॉर गोल्डन एज एंड सिल्वर एज पीरियड. क्योंकि society where there is egolessness, they don't record and document what I have done and what any for my progeny and all that. That consciousness is not living in that kind of awareness of my past and my future. They are living in the now. Very much that is the state of the being in golden age and silver age. Golden age mein, of course, soul is a bit more awake. In silver age, little bit of familiarity starts to come. थोड़ी बहुत familiarity body से, body conscious नहीं है, पर थोड़ी सी familiarity आनी शुरू हो जाती है. तो पहले अगर था कि यहाँ पे था I like and appreciate everything as a soul, मैं सब कुछ appreciate करती हूँ. There is innocence, there is playfulness, there is cheerfulness, there is a childishness, in childish innocence, but with wisdom. यहाँ पर golden age में. फिर सिल्वर एज में थोड़ी सी फेमिलियरिटी आ जाती है बॉडी से, पर बॉडी कॉन्शियस नहीं, थोड़ी सी बहुत बहुत थोड़ी. तो सोल क्या है, अभी तक जागृत है, पर अगर वो 16 सेलेस्टियल डिग्रीज की बजाय 14 सेलेस्टियल डिग्रीज जागृत है, मतलब मन थोड़ा थोड़ा सा अब एक्टिव होने लगा है, थोड़ा सा, राइट. तो हाफ द साइकिल ये चलता है. उसके बाद यहाँ पे आता है कॉपर एज. कॉपर एज में there is a big another kind of a semi destruction that takes place, which we call is I would say tectonic plates. You know, we hear that the continent was one, but then there was a separation of the tectonic plates. Yes, somebody wanted to ask something. Hand is raised.
ओम शांति दीदी.
ओम शांति.
हाँ दीदी, जैसे हम पिछले जन्मों से संस्कार लेके आते हैं, और जैसे चाइल्ड से हम ग्रो होते हैं, हमें कुछ संस्कार फैमिली पे एक्वायर्ड होते हैं. तो सेम ऐसा सतयुग में होता है, जैसे हम ग्रो होते हैं वैसे हमें ऑलरेडी हम प्योर आत्माएं आती है. तो ये प्योर आत्मा जैसे जैसे ग्रो होती है तो वैसे वैसे संस्कार मिलते हैं। और
हाँ, तो क्या होता है, आत्मा तो ग्रो नहीं होती और आत्मा डिटीरियोरेट नहीं होती है, पर हम देखेंगे होता क्या है। आत्मा का माइंड जो है ना, वो सतो प्रधान से सतो, रजो प्रधान, रजो, तमो, तमो प्रधान होता जाता है माइंड। और आत्मा क्या उसके इन्फ्लुएंस में आ जाती है, पर आत्मा को फिर भी कुछ नहीं होता है। पर क्योंकि वो भूल जाती है कि मैं माइंड नहीं हूं, अपना माइंड तो मेरी एक फैकल्टी है, मैं तो आत्मा किंग हूं, वो भूल जाती है। यहाँ पर किसी ने पूछा सिल्वर एज एंड त्रेता युग इज द सेम, यस इट इज। तो जब यहाँ आती है ना, तो यहाँ पर से क्या होता है, एकदम से कॉन्शियसनेस में शिफ्ट नहीं आता है, आत्मा इज स्टिल द सेम, बट नाउ द माइंड बिकम्स एक्टिव। मैटर माइंड बिकम्स एक्टिव, माइंड जो है वो मैटर वाला माइंड इन्फ्लुएंस में ले आता है आत्मा को। अब आत्मा थोड़ी थोड़ी, फिर रावण कैसे आया इस युग में? इस युग में रावण नहीं है, त्रेता युग में रावण नहीं है, हल्का सा बस डिग्री थोड़ी कम हुई। अगर 24 कैरेट्स प्योर था तो यहाँ पे ये 24 नहीं होके जैसे मान लीजिए माइंड की जो कंडीशन है, हल्का सा बस एक्टिवेट होना शुरू हुआ है और कुछ नहीं हुआ है। बॉडी कॉन्शियस नहीं हुई है, पर उसे पता चला है मेरे पास एक बॉडी है, और वो थोड़ी 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 थोड़ी, अभी तक रावण आया नहीं। रावण तो आत्मा में इटर्नली है, वो कभी खत्म नहीं होता है, वो मर्ज होता है, ये भी याद रखना जरूरी है। आत्मा में रावण मर्ज होता है। It's like a shadow. Which two celestial degrees are missing in Treta? That is, इसीलिए हमने बोला वहां पे गोल्डन एज में फेमिलियरिटी नहीं है, यहाँ पर फेमिलियरिटी है, थोड़ी सी, ज्यादा नहीं। वहां यहाँ पर अपनापन मतलब आत्माओं के साथ है, यहाँ पर थोड़ा थोड़ा हल्का हल्का, मतलब अभी तक स्वर्ग है, पर बॉडी से हल्की सी फेमिलियरिटी हो रही है। डेथ नहीं है, डर नहीं है आत्मा को। तो आत्मा पूरा कैसे है अगर रावण भी है उसमें? आत्मा तो पूरी है ही, आत्मा कभी बदलती नहीं है, माइंड एक्टिवेट हुआ है थोड़ा सा,
दीदी आत्मा
ज्यादा नहीं।
प्योर प्योर कैसी है?
आत्मा प्योर कैसे है? आत्मा का नेचर जो है,
नहीं, क्वेश्चन वाज तो आत्मा प्योर कैसे है अगर रावण भी है उसमें इन
रावण,
त्रेता युग?
अच्छा, सत्युग त्रेता इज अ पीरियड ऑफ पैराडाइज, उसमें आत्मा अभी तक किंग है। माइंड भले ही अपने सजेशन हल्के दे भी रहा होगा, हल्के हल्के, ज्यादा नहीं, बहुत थोड़े थोड़े, पर आत्मा किंग है, वो माइंड के अंडर में नहीं है अभी तक, है ना? माइंड के अंडर नहीं आई है आत्मा अभी तक, इसलिए आत्मा अभी तक सेल्फ सॉवरेन किंग ऑफ द इनर किंगडम। गोल्डन एज और सिल्वर एज दोनों में, गोल्डन एज में माइंड बिल्कुल बोलता ही नहीं है, यहाँ पे मे भी हल्का दो चार दे देता होगा थॉट्स, पर वो आत्मा इतनी अवेयर है तो उन थॉट्स को वो नहीं करती है, एक्नॉलेज नहीं करती है, मतलब मानती भी है नहीं। अगर थॉट राइट है तो मान लेती है, नहीं है तो रॉन्ग थॉट्स तो अभी भी नहीं आते हैं, पर थोड़ा सा थॉट प्रोसेस चालू हो जाता है, रॉन्ग थॉट्स नहीं आते हैं। सत्युग त्रेता में दोनों में रॉन्ग थॉट्स नहीं आते। यहाँ पे अगर टोटल टेलीपैथिक कम्युनिकेशन है तो यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा ज्यादा दो चार शब्द एक्स्ट्रा बोलने का काम है, पर यहाँ पे बिल्कुल जैसे बहुत कम है तो यहाँ पे थोड़े चार शब्द एक्स्ट्रा होंगे बोलने के लिए। ये क्लियर हुआ कि सेल्फ सॉवरेन है आत्मा इस किंगडम में अभी तक भी। इज दैट क्लियर? जिसने भी ये क्वेश्चन पूछा था, स्वराज्य अधिकारी है आत्मा इन दोनों किंगडम में। अब क्या होता है, कॉपर एज में, कॉपर एज का टाइम आता है। रिमेंबर दिस इज अ साइकिल ऑफ चेंज, टाइम तो हमने शब्द दिया है, बट दिस इज अ साइकिल ऑफ चेंज बेस्ड ऑन एवरीथिंग दैट इज न्यू हैज टू बिकम ओल्ड, एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम ऑर्डर हैज टू गो टू केओस, दैट्स द लॉ ऑफ नेचर। लॉ ऑफ एंट्रोपी आपने सुना ही होगा, लॉ ऑफ थर्मोडायनामिक्स। तो यहां पर क्या होता है कि हाफ द साइकिल इज गॉन बाय, अब सोल comes under the influence of the mind. Mind becomes more active. Soul starts to go to sleep. Little bit. Again, not much. Little bit starts to go to sleep. And because soul is sleeping, now the ego is awake. And as the ego is awake, the search for truth starts once again. Or as the search for truth starts once again, the seeker of truth is born. और जो seeker of truth है, वो है ego. आत्मा क्योंकि अपने आप को भूलने लगी है और seeker of truth ego होता है, तो अब वो धर्म स्थापक आते हैं नीचे. Those who are establishing the religions. Those souls are coming. Now, this is their very first birth here. They were never in the golden age and the silver age. Their very first birth is in the copper age, because a pure soul, actually, let's say, for example, Jesus Christ. Now, Jesus is an ordinary man, name of the ordinary man. Jesus is just like an ordinary human birth. But within that soul, another soul enters called Christ soul. That is the very first time that soul is not born through the womb. The Christ soul also comes in the body of Jesus without the birth through lust. That soul is also not born through lust, but enters the body of Jesus. So there are two souls in one body. Yeah? And that is Jesus Christ. And if you remember on the cross, Jesus said that and just before the crucifixion was over, he said, Lord, you have forsaken me. That means the Christ soul had left the body of Jesus at that time. And then the Jesus soul felt like he's been left alone, because Christ's soul would not speak like that, right? So there were two souls in one body. Jaise Brahma Baba, jaise do atma in one. Absolutely. Bilkul. तो ये कोई नया concept नहीं है, two souls in one body. It is very much prevalent in this play, in this entire play. So the two souls can be in one body, and these dharmstapaks were ordinary bodies, and then these souls who came to establish the religion, they entered these bodies and they gave the message of God. But it was still not God himself. They were messengers. What about Rama and Krishna? Yeah, we will see that later, that who is Krishna. But more important is that we understand that at this time, the religions are coming into being, different religions. But these are bodily religions. Each religion itself has its own golden age, silver age, copper age, and iron age. Means each religion has its own golden purity. Then the purity of that religion becomes less and less. And by the end of the cycle, these religions are also confused. Yeah, but when they started, they were in their pure form. And this is what is happening at this time in copper age. And many religions are being established here in copper age. But then comes the age of darkness, Kali Yuga, age of conflict, age of war, age of death and dying. And it is here that now the immortality becomes a concept and death feels real in body consciousness, right? And it is here that the complete darkness takes place. In Copper Age, Dwapara Yuga, yes, Copper Age is known as Dwapar, Dopur, right? That is, now there is the kingdom of the, so it's now there's one king, and then there will be an advisor also with it. In the Golden Age, the king was also his own advisor. He did not need separate advisor, but here the king needs an advisor because the king himself is not pure enough. So he needs an advisor to advise him. So Dopur, duality comes in at this time. There is no duality at this time in Golden and Silver Age, but starting Copper Age, duality comes in. Likes and dislikes, acceptance and rejection, body, I am this body, and what we used to love. Here in Golden Age, we used to love that which always existed, true love. And it's not like we stop loving, but we start loving wrong things, starting Copper Age. When I start loving myself as my body, ego comes into being. When I start loving others' bodies as their body, lust and attachment develops and then or emerges. Or then when we start loving material things, greed emerges. So that is why we start loving wrong things. Or rather, we start understanding the meaning of love in a wrong way. And that's what starts to happen in Dwapar, Dopur, Copper Age. Yeah? Now this Iron Age is the age of winter of humanity. Yeah, duality means where there is opposites, like, dislike. I like this one, I don't like this one. I prefer this weather, I don't prefer this weather. I am good and bad, ugly and beautiful. So two opposites. In Golden Age and Silver Age, there is no opposites. In Golden Age, it's all just about being one in your awareness. Who am I? And my eternal Paramdham consciousness is playing out in the body. So I'm experiencing my Paramdham state in the body through this, within this play field, on this physical world, through the body I'm experiencing. So there's no duality in these two ages. So then there is no like my mother, my father, my daughter, my son. That kind of consciousness does not exist here. All are mine. That is the consciousness that exists here. All are mine. And here, this one is mine and that one is mine. So if it started that I like this, now it has become I want this. Now it is mine and now I am this. That is an Iron Age. For earlier, so it was I like my body, then I want my body to live forever. And then as time went by, this body is mine. And then now at the end of the Iron Age, I am my body. That is how the consciousness has come under the influence of Maya mind. This is what Baba calls eclipse of the sun. Solar eclipse. Consciousness is eclipsed. The moon is the Maya mind and the sun is me. So now what happens after the Iron Age has reached its extremity of darkness, of conflict, of war, of complete ignorance of who I am, completely Kumbhakarna sleep, completely deep sleep state, where body is seen as me, where my possessions are seen as me, defining me, bringing me some self-respect. I'm seeing myself as my body, so what I own brings me respect. Who I own, who do I associate myself with as Rini, that brings me respect. Oh, I know the Prime Minister of India, that brings respect. Because the soul has himself lost completely all the respect. So what I own as body and who I associate with as body and senior and junior and all of that comes here in Iron Age. So at this time of extreme darkness and irreligiousness, God himself, the intervention of the third highest, most pure ever in clarity, that consciousness enters this cycle or this play to play his God part. And that is Supreme Soul Shiva himself, the supreme point of light. Because now he can see his children by the end of the play are crying. I want to go back home. I don't want to come back and play. Take me home, take me home. So at the end, the path of devotion is also, I just wanted to mention that the path of devotion is also starting in Copper Age when all the religions start. And devotion itself was very pure and unadulterated in the beginning. But by the end of the cycle, devotion has become completely a means to separate the soul from God even further. Because now devotion is done just in the name of socialization, or to feed the fear of body consciousness. So instead of love for God, now there is fear of God. That is what happens in Iron Age. It is at this time when souls are crying for mukti, then the Supreme Himself has to come at this time. And when He's interacting now with the soul, magic happens. Any questions so far?
If there is a question,
But we understand.
explain
Yes.
duality again.
Duality again. Okay. So duality is, let's say, what is non-duality first to understand duality. Non-duality is just plain white paper. Yeah? Plain white paper, changeless. Nothing about that changes. Yeah? Now, on that white paper, there is dark dots, right? Are all souls corrupted in Iron Age? Yes, souls are not corrupted, but souls are under the influence of the mind that is corrupted. Yeah? Souls are under the influence of the ego mind that is completely corrupted. Yes, absolutely. But God comes here and He is the one that is completely Advait, non-dual, who never comes in the cycle of changing costumes. Or sometimes we hear the words birth and death, but the soul is never born and soul never dies. But it is the birth of the body and the death of the body. So He's not ever coming into the cycle of birth and death of the body. But we souls who playing human parts, who want to have the human experience, we come to play our part and we go through the cycle of birth and death of the body. So that is very important to understand. And non-duality is where we see God Himself is always in that truth of being Advait, non-dualism, which means, and it's not the study that we hear in the New Age kind of study of non-dualism. We are not talking about that. We are talking about non-dualist means the soul that the Father is only knows what is the beauty of the being as a white, beautiful white slate. But now there are dots of black, there are some splashes of gray and some splashes of other colors. Now there are different colors on top of that white. Does that make sense? So I, the soul, completely beyond like and dislike, I can now see there are some thoughts of liking, some thoughts of disliking, some thoughts of pleasant, some thoughts of unpleasant, some thought. This is like a splash of this. Thoughts are like paint, which are like splashing on the canvas, which is completely clean and pure white. Yeah. And with those thoughts, we create an artwork of this person identity called Rini, in my case. तो क्या द्वापर की धर्म स्थापक आत्माएं वापस आएंगी सत्युग में पवित्र होके? नहीं, उनका पाठ अलग है. And that is why we will see the image of the tree also, which will help us understand things even more deeply. Yeah. But to first, right now, to understand the part of every soul is unique, important, and different, and it can never be the same. Not all souls can come in Golden Age and Silver Age, but it's not even needed for them to come in Golden Age and Silver Age because their part is different. So what has happened is, like, we also see it as in this cycle of time or cycle of change or cycle of consciousness, there are many different cycles within the cycle, right? So there's a cycle of 24 hours, then there's a cycle of 365 days, then there's a cycle of winter, summer, autumn, spring. But really for nature, it is a cycle of morning, afternoon, evening, night. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. Rest all 365 days, week, calendar, dates. That is all human creation. That is not the creation of God or nature. That is human creation, that we created the concept of time in that sense. It is not the creation of God or nature. So it's very important to understand that. And so now we are at the end of Iron Age, and in Iron Age, at the end of the Iron Age, as we said, God himself has to come, because now it is the time for change. It is the time to go from chaos to order once again. And so to go from seed to the tree and then back to the seed, the supreme seed himself has to come here. To go from essence, we come as essence, we live as essence, then we go into expansion, expansion, expansion. Now it's time to go back to being the seed. Like in the winter, if you see, in the winter of humanity and in the winter here, all the seeds are dormant, so that when the spring comes, the seed can really sprout. So they are just being nurtured by the heat of the ground, of the earth. Incognito, under the earth, the heat of the earth keeps those seeds protected. And that's exactly what's happening here. At the end of Iron Age, when the Supreme Soul comes, he is now incognito with his knowledge, awakening the souls to their truth and awakening the souls to come back to their essence from expansion of the stories after stories after stories that they have played. And understand that this is just a storybook that is there within you, the soul. In your mind, it's recorded. You are not your story. And that is why he has come here, to wake up. It is time to go back home. This is a play field. Time to go back home. And that is why God himself now, he is a point of light. He cannot be born through lust, just like the other Dharmsthapak souls. But those other souls, they still come into birth and death, because their part is not the God part. Their part is to establish a religion. It's a different part. But Baba's part is the part of God. So when he comes, he also needs a body. And he needs a body that has taken maximum births. The one who's most experienced of all, the one who started the journey from the beginning till the end. And so then he takes the body of Dada Lekhraj. And Dada Lekhraj is the name of a soul's body. In 1936, this part of this soul was that of a diamond merchant. And this soul, as playing the part of a diamond merchant, he was known for his generosity of heart. He was always known as a special soul, special regard for him, even by the kings where he used to sell his diamonds. They would respect him as though he was one of them, or rather even better than them. Some of the kings would even speak to him as though you should have been the king and we should have been the merchant. But that was his part. So he was playing his part beautifully. Just to give a background of how his part was from the very beginning, kind of very special. But the most important thing is that in 1936, God himself uses his body to give the message of this entire knowledge that we are studying here is given by God through the mouth, lotus lips of Brahma. God himself comes and he gives him the name of Brahma. He gets many visions, and through his visions, he comes to know that it's not his work, it's the work of the Supreme. And I will not go into a lot of detail of the life of Brahma Baba, but it's a very beautiful book called Adi Dev. And if you've not read it, and if you're interested in this knowledge to take it further, you must read that book. I think maybe Sister Hema can put that in the chat. Adi Dev, must read that book. Must read. It's like if you have not read that book, then we have not really started or understood the full history of this yagya. Adidev, yes. So at this time, God himself enters, and I will just give you a very small, simple snippet of it, which will answer any question regarding God. And it is like there was a satsang where he was, and in that satsang, his daughter-in-law, yes, there are PDFs also for it. In satsang, he was known to be very respectful of his gurus. So he used to have a lot of gurus. But then one day he just stepped out of the gathering and went into the room, which was very unlike him. And then what happened is the daughter-in-law was sent by the mother-in-law to check on him, whether he was doing well or not, because he was a married man, a family man. And the reason that God chose that kind of a body, which was playing the part of a family man, was a very strategic move by God, because this path in golden age is the family path. And so he needed to choose a chariot that was playing the part of a family person. It is not the part for the sannyasis, it's not the part for the, because this knowledge is knowledge for all, not just for sannyasis or selected few. This knowledge is for the common soul playing common parts, soul playing parts in the family. And whilst living in the family, how to live like a lotus. So he had to choose an example who would be the perfect sample for it. And this soul was playing the part of a family man with wife and kids and very well respected in society, a diamond merchant. And then when God entered his body, it was as though immediate, unlimited disinterest. एक साथ पूरा उनको वैराग्य, क्या बोलते हैं, बेहद का वैराग्य आ गया, बेहद का वैराग्य. And then जब वो डॉटर इन लॉ गई कि ये दादा कैसे उठकर गए, कभी जाते तो नहीं है, ये तो बहुत बड़ा डिसरिस्पेक्ट, दादा तो कर नहीं सकता, क्या हुआ. तो फिर वो कमरे में जाती है पीछे पीछे उनके, तो देखती है दरवाजे पे खड़े होके उनकी डॉटर इन लॉ. उन्होंने बहुत सुंदर उसका पूरा डिस्क्रिप्शन दिया है आदिदेव में, पढ़ने लायक है, ये पूरा पढ़ना है. ये जस्टिस नहीं कर पाएगी उन वर्ड्स को, पर कोशिश करती है कि उसमें उन्होंने देखा कि वो बाबा बैठे हैं एकदम पालकी मारकर, एकदम जैसे कमरे में रेड रेड लाइट हो गई है, और उनके मुंह पे जैसे बहुत तेज और शब्द उनके मुख से बहुत जैसे निकल रहे हैं और गूंज रहे हैं कमरे में भी, कि निजानंद स्वरूपम शिवोहम शिवोहम, ज्ञान स्वरूपम शिवोहम शिवोहम, प्रकाश स्वरूपम शिवोहम शिवोहम, which means I am blissful, I am Shiva, I am ocean of knowledge, I am Shiva, I am the luminous one, the ocean of light, I am Shiva. He comes and gives his introduction through Brahma. He needs a body. He can't be born through lust. So he needs a body. So he uses the body of soul behind Brahma, and he gives him the name Brahma. Brahma is a very strategic name again, that which we remember on the path of devotion as Brahma is simply also known, we see him with the books and 3 heads, right? And it's all a symbol of being Trikaldarshi. Now, he gives us the history and geography of this one soul of Brahma. So then we know what will he become in golden age, and what is he at the end of iron age, and what is the role he's playing now. So his history he gives us, and through his history we come to know that how we souls also play our part in golden age and silver age. So this much I wanted to share, and further I would really, really recommend, please read the book Adidev. But this time of confluence age is the time of establishment and destruction both. Both are happening simultaneously, internally and externally, both. So internally, in the souls who have recognized God, they are taking the message of God, they are studying with God directly Through Brahma, yes, the knowledge is coming through the mouth of Brahma, but we are not connecting with soul behind Brahma. In drama, Baba plays his role as God. In Dwapar and Kalyug, in Dwapar and Kalyug, he plays the role of the one who gives visions to the devotees. But he doesn't come to the planet Earth. He's not on Earth till the end in confluence age, but he's giving visions from the home to the devotees when they really are doing pure devotion. So father of souls, Satguru, teacher for soul for limited numbers of souls. No, he's not the father, teacher, Satguru of the limited number of souls. He's the father of all the souls. He's the teacher of all the souls. He's come here for all the souls, but very few students choose to study with him. He's not discriminating. It's not that everybody wants to study with him, because this study is not about changing others. The study is about changing yourself. And this period is called confluence, Sangam Yug. Yeah, Sangam of where the society is moving from body conscious society to soul conscious society. That transition period is Sangam Yug. Yeah. And this time we are learning to reawaken to our truth. Okay, yeah. So we are now awakening to our truth. And the paradox is today is that we are souls and we know everything about the outside world and we know very little about our inside world. So when God comes, he's awakening us to our inside world and he's telling us, child, you have duality within you now in your mind. And your mind is totally under the influence of Maya. So wake up, because you are the king. And when you wake up, you can bring your inner kingdom back into order. When you bring your inner kingdom back into order, the whole kingdom will become back into order. So to bring the whole kingdom back into order, I have to bring my inner kingdom into order. That is why if you must have seen Govardhan Parvat with one finger each one, and they show Krishna holding the whole mountain up. True? And our finger, one finger of our cooperation is that I, the being, I am working on self-transformation. My transformation will lead to world transformation. So our focus is on creation. Creation means our focus is on studying with God and reawakening to my eternal truth as he sees it. And when I see my eternal truth, then I also am seeing the illusion of Maya with him in his company. Because he's that pure light in which nothing can hide. No dirt can hide, and your greatness cannot hide. Everything is seen very clearly in his company. So the eclipse starts to get removed. And the light of the sun starts to shine. It's always shining. It never was not shining, but now it's becoming visible to yourself. And you're not looking at the moon from the perspective of the ground. If you remember the beginning video, we are not looking at things from the perspective of the ground. We are zooming out and looking at the things while sitting in the lap of God from where the sun is, not from where the ground is. Then I will see myself as a sun, and I will see there is an eclipse of Maya, which I was believing myself to be. And that is what now I'm with my Baba. I can see this eclipse was never me. This ego mind was never me. And I was believing all this time that I am this eclipse. But now with the light of God, I can see the eclipse, I can see myself, and I know I'm not the eclipse. Does that make sense so far? Yeah? Anybody?
Yes.
Okay. So what we are seeing is that connecting with God, this is the time when I am experiencing deep relationships with God. It is the time to create memories with God. It is the time to live life with God. The only time in the cycle when I can truly, actually, directly connect with the Supreme, have heart-to-heart conversations with Him at this time in Confluence Age. This is why this period is known as the Diamond Age, even better than Confluence, even better than Golden. This is the very first birth. That which to the degree that I awaken here, to that degree, my power will emerge. And based on that power, it will decide when do I come back in the cycle. So if I awaken to the, let's say 50%, then the soul will come when the golden age is 50%. If let's say I awaken to 100%, then I will come in the very first birth of golden age. Because my awakening will determine my degree of power for the parts. Not that my power, either soul ever become powerless, no. But for my parts to play, I need to stay with the matter for a long time, then I need to make sure that I'm fully awake here now. So we are really awakening to our truth here. Golden age starts for us now. In Confluence Age, where I'm awakening to my truth, but I'm also awakened to the different forces of Maya. But they are just illusions. They are not real for the one who is awakened. So I live a life of super sensuous joy here. The age of truth starts here. Because I'm with the ocean of truth. I'm taking in true knowledge of immortality. Now, even golden age, you would not have this knowledge. In golden age, I'm just enjoying the reward of my beautiful awakening here. I enjoy the reward. Here, I don't even know I'm happy. Here, I know what happiness is, what sadness is, from the place of being completely non-dual. Knowing I'm the soul beyond happiness and sadness of the drama and the part, I now awaken that I'm beyond both. And I know both. So you are completely knowledgeful only in Confluence Age. No other time are you really knowledgeful. Only here are you truly knowledgeful. Only here can you create that imprint of that relationship with God. So for example, if I'm experiencing the relationship with God now as my Father, then throughout the cycle, the father roles that whichever soul will play, I will experience that godly love from that father. Depending on how much I'm experiencing all relationships with God here, it will unfold through the cycle based on to what degree I have experienced that joy and that bliss and that pure attachment of all relationships with God here. So I'm creating you can say I am writing the script for the entire cycle here in Confluence Age. Knowing I'm timeless, I'm interacting with time now. I know time is a man-made concept, but the timeless being knows that Baba is using the same language that I was sleeping with to wake me up and take me beyond words and beyond language. Yeah? So once again, being egoless, I, the soul, am now seeing all the egos within me with Baba. Being timeless, I'm seeing how time-bound mind is constantly making this body and soul go back to sleep again. Being that changeless being, I'm now seeing the change through the entire cycle that it has happened. Everything has been constantly changing. Body, mind, the only one that has not changed is me, the soul. So I'm reawakening to everything, but now I have understood I was the experiencer, experiencing all the change at the level of the body, at the level of the mind, but I was none of that ever. But because for the half the cycle I was confused and ignorant, believing myself to be the body and the part. I thought I die. I thought I am losing or I am winning. But now in confluence age, I realize that's just an experience I was having. I was just experiencing what is loss and gain at the level of the body and play. But now it's time to know that I am with my Father in the home, using my mind powerfully at this time. So we learn to love again each other as soul to soul relationship. All relationships around me are iron aged. Everybody around me seeing me as my body and my role. But I, the soul, with my Supreme Father, I'm connected and I'm seeing myself as a soul and others also as a soul. It is the most amazing time, confluence age. And that is why Baba says, child, stay with me. All you have to do is stay awake. I will do the rest. I will give liberation in life. You stay awake and you will feel that liberation in life now. And other souls whose part is not to be maybe have that liberation in life experience now, but they will start experiencing the vibrations in the air and they will also start waking up to their true part. That is why this image of the tree I find so beautiful, so wonderful, because the function of the seed in a tree is to make all the cells of the root are different from the cells of the trunk, the cells of the trunk, the cells of the branches that create branches, the cells that create leaves, the cells that create fruit, the cells that create anything. The cells are different, right? But how would a tree be without the branches and the leaves and the flowers and the fruits? Would it be a good tree, just the trunk and the roots? Not interesting, no? So you need the whole tree. So at the seed level, Baba comes. Yeah, at the seed level, Baba comes and he says, child, you also stay with me in your seed form and be with me in all relationships and see what happens. See how your golden aged personality is emerging. So he's bringing us back to essence, an essence of absolutely everything, essence of even politics. So he's teaching me how to be the king of my inner kingdom, essence. He's bringing me from the expansion to the essence of what it is to be in your true religion. So he's bringing me back to the religion of the soul, essence. He's teaching me the essence of what it means to be in the hospital. Means I, the soul, am treating my mind with my Father, healing my mind with my Father, the Supreme Surgeon. What does it mean to come back to essence, opening a school? What are you learning in this unlimited school with the unlimited Father as your unlimited teacher? This is the time of all unlimited in confluence age, and you are aware of it and you know it. You don't know all of this in golden age. You're royal Buddhas in golden age. Here you know everything. So you know what desire is, and you're also experiencing your desirelessness. You have the knowledge of desires, but you also have the knowledge of your being that you are as a desireless being. So now you have that experience of that power also, that how the desire does not have power over you. Because you are a desireless being, but you can see the desire trying to pull you, but you are not getting pulled. That is a game. That's having fun. Now in confluence age. So in the tree, the cell is supreme seed. What is the function of the seed in a biological tree also is that the earth around it, it transforms its chemistry and it makes everything around him like him. That's the function of the seed even in a tree. The roots are formed and then the trunk comes and then the branches branch out. And that is what Baba is doing. He's the seed, right? Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, this is the seed that Baba is changing re-emerging the real consciousness of the beings of light once again. When we sit with Baba as the seed, and we are now just focusing on ourselves, me, Baba, and what is happening in my inner world. Then what starts to happen is, because the more you, the soul, is out of the influence of your ego mind, now Baba can use you. And as Baba uses you, all the souls are receiving whatever they need to receive at whatever level. They will receive from God directly, right? So he's removing the mud of ego away from us. And he's giving us his own perspective, his own attitude, his own vision for me to see through his eyes. So that I know I am like my Father. I am God-like. So I, the being who plays the part with God right now, will also come in Golden Age and Silver Age. So few souls come, those who play part with God will come in Golden Age. And then more souls will come from home and play the part in Silver Age, depending on the power that they had emerged now at this time. As soul as a detached entity, then please explain that soul to soul relationship. Yes, we will. Let us finish this tree part and then we will. So we begin to understand at this point, I, the seed, am having relationships with other seeds and with Baba as the supreme seed, as a soul to soul relationship. So those souls will come in Golden Age. Then more souls will get added in Silver Age. But those souls who are in Golden Age will leave body, take body, change body, and then go to Silver Age. So population keeps increasing till the end, because more and more souls are getting added from home to this physical world. Nobody is going home till the end. All the actors will go back home only at the end of the film. No actors can go back home in the middle of the film. Yeah. So then Silver Age, then other branches come. And this is a very beautiful aspect of the tree. We need all these branches of different religions. And when these different religions come, they have their own Golden Age at time and Silver Age at time and Copper Age at time. Then these different branches branch out into further branches and leaves. And each part of the tree is equally important, equally useful, equally valuable, because the tree's beauty is in the whole tree, not half the tree. So some people ask why everybody cannot come in Golden Age. That's not their part. Their part is in being the branch and the leaf, and they want it to be that way. Like if you go for a jazz show, there's a jazz musician there, and the musician is playing. अगर वो musician music play कर रहा है, वो enjoy कर रहा है play करना. पर मुझे वो म्यूजिशियन बनना नहीं है, पर मैं म्यूजिक सुनना एंजॉय कर रही हूँ. पर मुझे अपना पार्ट अच्छा लगता है, उसको अपना पार्ट अच्छा लगता है. तो सबको अपना अपना पार्ट अच्छा लगता है. When the soul is awake, the soul is respectful of every part. Soul is respectful of every leaf, every branch. Everything is needed. But now time to go back to the seed. So now the tree is now in its dilapidated condition. Now it's time for the new tree to emerge again. So this is the consciousness where we are seeing that I, the being, when I am awakened to my truth, all the task is happening on its own. My every breath is serving the world because Baba can use me. Does that make sense? Any questions at this point? Yes, soul to soul relationship. Whilst we are living in the body, and I can only give my own personal example, that I, the soul, really enjoy now living life the way I had never done before Gyan. And after coming into Gyan, the only focus is who am I? Who do I belong to? And let's say, for example, I'm sitting for a cup of tea, like, for example, the soul behind Rini, having a cup of tea with the soul playing the role of a husband. Now, internally, externally, I am performing probably the same action of having a cup of green tea with the soul playing the part of a husband. But internally, my focus and my attention is, I am a point of light. That soul is also a point of light. And that soul is doing his own conversation. But I internally am in this awareness. And I'm seeing my part is playing out. From the seed that I am, this part has emerged. And from the seed that soul is, that part has emerged. And the part has manifested from the seed and it's just playing. But actually, we are both the seeds. And we are both in the home of light, sitting with Baba. And here the movie is playing. And I can see that scene and the movie playing. But I am not the character Rini in the movie. I am that seed in the home with Baba. And so is that soul, the seed in the home with Baba. And whatever conversation is happening, that is the fixed script that is playing out for that soul. But now I, the soul, have a choice to go beyond the script of this character. So I can use Baba's gyan and Baba's words and Baba's mind. I, the soul, actually use Baba's mind now. And when I'm living in that awareness, what one has found, yes, I speak less, but I'm living a life of innate happiness inside. And I can sometimes even see Maya coming, oh, what did he just say? And then I, the soul, will just be like, Baba, and I see that thought popped up from the past samskara. And Maya is not here to harass me. Maya is just here to entertain me. So I just see that thought but you need to pay attention. So I see that thought and it automatically goes to Baba. I don't even need to give it. So internally living more introverted life, but living with everybody. And what you will find is your vibrations serve everyone. And everyone starts to feel those vibrations of love because you are living a life of immense love. You're seeing them as a soul. Nobody else is seeing them as a soul. Everybody else is seeing them as their part and their character of their personality of their part. Nobody's seeing them as a soul. But now I, the soul, has this beautiful gift from God of divine intellect. So I use my divine intellect, I, the soul, and see the other soul with Baba as a beautiful soul. Sometimes I, the soul, will also see Baba right on top of that soul's physical body. And see that I and Baba and the soul, we are all together here. I'll just see probably like here, we are all together. And there's a scene playing out. But we all are out of the scene. And then we are all watching the scene also and playing our part in the scene also, like a premiere show. We are watching the premiere show. So this is the inner awareness. This is the introspective life. And you will be amazed. What I have seen is what I need to hear gets heard. What I don't need to hear doesn't get heard. What needs to, because it's as though drama takes care of everything because you are with God. It's a really beautiful way to experiment. So you really need to experiment. You're not living an ordinary life anymore. You're living your life with God. Yeah. So this is, it's not like I'm a mother in a role conscious manner talking to son. Yes, those feelings can come up, but I, the soul, with my Baba, who's my child, Baba is my child, of me, the soul, and that other soul who's playing the part of the child. Whilst even I'm talking, I'm internally connected with Baba as my child. And sometimes even Baba as a mother for both of us. And then internally, although that soul is speaking something, and I'm connected with Baba, and what I have found is the other soul starts to receive those vibrations from Baba. Because you are connected with Baba. So they start to receive those vibrations. So you're not living an ordinary life of a role. You're now living a life of being who you are as a soul, like you would in Golden Age. and my own inner feelings of equality, of equanimity, of all are mine, because as the seed, the whole tree is mine. All souls are mine, just like they are for Baba, they are for me. All are mine. And this awareness really, you will find immense respect that others experience from you and you experience from others. There may be moments in the beginning of testing papers, or I would rather say opportunities or blessings in the beginning, and it continues to be a blessing, but you will find everything changes if internally you are living a life of introspection and introversion. You're never complaining about anything, because as a soul, what complain means, you don't know. Ego may complain in your mind, but you're detached from it. So you don't act upon it, and you don't even identify or personalize those feelings. You see those feelings come up, don't personalize them. They're just there, come to bid farewell, to say bye-bye, let them go. Why are you personalizing them? So then you realize that this function of the seed and the tree, what Baba has created, is such a beautiful aspect of bringing everything, the whole human society, human structure, immense structures of the ego are now from expansion coming back into essence. So he's teaching us the right way of politics, right way of the system of governing, right way of nutrition. Nutrition for the soul is the knowledge of God, right way of beauty. He's decorating us with the jewels of knowledge every day and emerging our innate beauty from within us, our divine beauty. So he's teaching us the entire new system. And that is what golden age is bound to come after that. There is no other way, but because we are living in that golden consciousness right now with God. So would you like to live with him?
Who else should we be living with?
Yeah, you don't want to. You don't want to. You live with him and you live with everyone even more beautifully. That's the beauty. When you live with him alone, then you find you live with everyone the way you had never thought you could. Like a golden aged family, the whole world family. I think Sujata had her hand raised.
I think she put the question in the chat. I think you answered the soul to soul relation. But Sujata Rao, do you have any more questions? I think that was the question from her.
Oh,
The
okay.
soul is a detached entity. Then please
Yeah.
explain the soul to soul relation.
Yeah. I would say this life of freedom that you experience now, this is liberation in life. When you are liberated from identification with the ego mind and you are truly living life with God, identifying with his vision. You will never know this life any other time. Anyone? Any comments, any questions that you want to ask? Okay. No more questions? Then can we go into meditation unless you have any questions?
Maybe about tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, tomorrow we will have a class on Maryadas and also a question answer session. So if anybody wants to ask any questions for throughout the course, feel free to ask all the questions that you may have had throughout the course, or how to apply this knowledge, everything even in more detail. You can ask all those questions tomorrow. Baba will be here. Baba is always there with all of us in the session, so he will be there to answer all the questions also. And And also we will talk a little bit on Maryadas also tomorrow and go a little bit more into detail, and also what is the right way to practice Maryadas, because there's some confusion around Maryadas from what I understand. So that will be our last day. And then from there on, we will see for the new ones, if they want to continue the Murli session, then that is wonderful. You can contact Hima Ben and let her know. And otherwise, I would not add otherwise. I'll just say, if you want to continue Murli sessions, do contact Hima Ben. And is there anything else that I should mention, Hima Ben? No? Okay.
So no class
Should-
tomorrow.
Tomorrow there is a class, but it will be on Maryadas and question answers. If anybody has any question and answers on application also of how to use this in our day-to-day life, this knowledge.
The foundation course is done. Foundation course is finished.
The foundation course is done today.
So tomorrow you will share what shall be our daily routine post this course.
Yes, yes, which is also very important. And that is why we will study the daily lifestyle of a Brahmin part, yeah, in the story. So that Ravan and Maya can be merged. Yes.
Om Shanti Didi. Actually, tomorrow I have my exam, so would it be possible that I'll receive the recording of tomorrow's class?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah. Can you ping me on this WhatsApp number that I have put in chat?
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And may not be of the question answers, because some questions may be very private, but for Maryada's part, yes. Anyone else? Okay, yes. Is the hand still raised, or was it? Okay, from before.
Yeah, Didi, she already asked the question.
So taking this moment, understanding that helps the soul transcend the expansion, understanding of essence, knowing that you were never not yourself. The soul is changeless throughout this cycle of change. This perspective of the changeless soul is the very foundation for true, accurate application of this knowledge. Not the changing character identity is doing this spiritual work. It's not a spiritual work that's being done, but it is this awakening of the spiritual being, awakening to his truth here and now. And from there, with Baba, seeing the eclipse as an eclipse, but not feeling I am the eclipse. That is it. You are the answer itself. You are the truth that you had been seeking all this time. The seeker of the truth is complicated. The truth is very simple. And God is truth. His knowledge is truth. And it's very simple. So living life with God as a bodiless soul, egoless soul, viceless soul is the privilege at this time, the most auspicious time of confluence age, where the being steps back into his unlimited self with the vision of God on him at all times. Truly experiencing liberation in life now as this timeless being who was never in bondage. Bondage itself was illusion that he believed to be true. But now, the being in the company of the Father lets go of this false belief. And he's free here and now. So all the heart can sing is deepest gratitude for the Supreme Parent, Teacher, Guru, for reintroducing the self to himself, for reintroducing himself to the self, and for reintroducing him to the story of immortality. Shanti.